Hello and welcome back to my FPL channel. I'm FPLD and today you're here for my updated chip strategy guide for this week and for the coming weeks coming up. A few things have potentially changed since last week's video. I've also got at the back end of this video a wildcard draft / free hit draft for this week if that's something that you are planning on doing. And look, sometimes your team just needs a wildcard, so if you are one of those people that is here for that particular part of this video, please skip forward to that. In other news, YouTube fast-tracked my review. I don't know what's going on, but I'm now a YouTube member. So from now on, I will have some exclusive perks for anyone that wants to bother to become a member. Please feel free. I've put it at a pretty nice price point as well, I think. So let me know what you think. And if you feel obliged, by all means, thanks to everyone that has actually liked all my videos, watched all my videos, and all those people that have subscribed. You've definitely helped me get to this milestone. So thank you once again to all those amazing people. And if you are new, please think about subscribing as well. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So, blank game week 29 confirmed fixtures and strategy. So last Friday, the Premier League came out and announced that there won't be any more nonsense. We know that Newcastle versus Crystal Palace will not be happening in game week 29, which means there'll be two fixtures. That's correct. Two whole fixtures that won't be happening in blank game week 29. That is Newcastle versus Crystal Palace and Liverpool versus Aston Villa. Now, if your team is a lot like mine, and we'll have a look at my team later on in this particular thing, my current squad and what I would move to if I was on a wild card this week, ideally, I'm going to be holding 3 players from Liverpool, Newcastle, Aston Villa, and Crystal Palace, and I won't be playing my free hit in 29. That is my current strategy. At the moment, I've got Alisson, Trent, Hall, Salah, Isaac. I've actually got 5 players that are affected by this blank game week. So that's pretty easy for me. I just need to move 2 of them out and I can roll 3 of them and I can play 11 and I'm not too worried about what's happening. It allows me to save my wildcard, allows me to save my free hit, and I think that's definitely the strategy that I'll be looking at. And I'll talk a little bit through my strategy again for those people that are wondering. And look, my whole strategy has been about playing the assistant manager chip on table bonus as well. So people that sit there and go, oh, who are you going to go move your assistant manager to this week? No, I haven't had Slot the entire time. I don't think Slot was ever a good pick. And you will never hear me preaching that on this channel. And I will definitely not be moving to an Arteta. I won't be moving to anyone that definitely won't be going to Herzler. I'm more likely to go for Uric than I am Herzler. I've heard lots of other people talk about the merits of backing in the team versus Southampton. Southampton drew with Brighton the first time round. Everyone just remember that. Please remember that. Go back and watch that game. I was exceptionally disappointing. I had triple up Brighton and they all sucked in that game. So that's how I know that game is not as easy as it looks on paper, especially the fact that Brighton are travelling away from home. So, obviously, the the Newcastle versus Crystal Palace game has moved to game week 32, creating an extra double game week. Now, if I'd known that this was going to happen at the beginning, I think I probably would have stuck with my original plan and played my triple captain on Mo Salah in game week 24 because he's not going to be so he's not going to have another double game week for the rest of the season. That I can confirm 100%. He's definitely not getting another double game week. And I wish last week potentially I had been able to play it. And if I'd known that Crystal Palace were going to get a double game week in 32 with 2 chances of table bonus, I'm telling you, I would have played the assistant manager chip then. Now, obviously it does mean that you are likely to miss out on the big double game week with your bench boost if you do play the assistant manager chip in 32. Most likely you would play it in 31 and 33, and I'll explain that a little bit more in the graphic that follows this. But it's just something to keep in mind. The first thing you need to do is look at your own team at the moment and work out whether you're free hitting in 29 or if you're making the transfers, maybe even taking a couple of hits to field a team in 29 so that way you can save it for later on in the season. And we'll talk about when I'm most likely going to be playing mine, but it's most likely going to be game week 34 still, which is likely to be the biggest blank of the season. Now, you do also have to look at fixture swings that will turn from this point, game week 30, 31, and what an early league title might mean for Liverpool. Like if Liverpool go far in the Champions League and they've wrapped up the league with a month to spare, I dare say Mo Salah is going to get rested. bit like Erling Haaland got rested last year when City had already wrapped up the title. So for me, that's definitely one of those watching things. And I still think that potentially wildcarding in 30 straight after the straight after the blanking 29 makes so much sense because you can really attack it, get the players in that's going to set up your team. We'll have a fairly good idea by who's going to be getting the doubles and who will be blanking in 34, which will make the setup a lot easier. And also it's over an international break. You might actually be able to make a 0.1 on a few players as well over that time period. Plus you'll be able to pivot on players that do get injured during the international break. I just think I think it's worth a shout and something that everyone should be looking at. So onto my updated chip strategy. So I moved the chip to Emery, and I was happy with that. I've still yet to see how they'll pay off. We've got less than 24 hours to find out. I'm hoping for big things tonight. If Emery pops off tonight, we do know that playing the AM slot the AM chip on slot has been a massive fail. So I'm hoping that Emery pulls it off tonight because it's going to be absolutely brilliant. At the moment, it's still advantage. Anyone that played it on Moyes to Emery, they're beating the slot owners at the moment. Now, Van Nistelrooy is definitely in my line of thinking. We'll talk about the assistant manager at the moment, but I've had a little bit of, like, some of the games that potentially are on offer may not go to Van Nistelrooy now. Realistically, if I've got a feeling that I want to back myself in, me and Ruud do look a lot alike. Go and check out photos of him. I would love to play it on him because I feel like I'd be gambling on myself and I expect myself to win, right? And then obviously this week I'm actively thinking about potentially not using any other transfers. I took a -4 last week, getting Ahmad out for Clivert, but I'm pretty happy with my team other than Trent, and we'll talk about that in a second. But idea is to roll transfers because Southampton do play Liverpool in game week 28 before they blank in 29, which is why I would like to transfer my Liverpool players out after that. But in reality, it's Southampton. Maybe they get rested because there's a Carabao Cup final straight after. I'm not sure. That's just something that has come into my line of thinking over the last couple of days prior to making this video. Obviously, I'm going to make my transfers in blank game week 29, field 11 players and hope for the best. And then play second wildcard will definitely happen in either game week 30 or 31. Like 100%. Because I can tell you now that my triple captain, it still potentially might happen in 36 or 33. And look, I haven't updated this graphic since last week, but it could also happen in 32. Like Isaac is going to be playing Crystal Palace, and I think it's... Oh, I should know this. I looked it up before. It's actually two fairly okay-ish fixtures. It's Manchester United and Crystal Palace. I knew it was an easy fixture. It might not be Man United. Maybe I'm just making that up. Either way, it's a really good chance to play your triple captain on Isaac. If he's in form, he looks really good there. I fancy him potentially to get 4 goals across those fixtures. I don't know why, just got a feeling. In terms of blank game week 34, it's still the most likely time for me to free hit. Now, if I don't free hit then, it will 100% be going to game week 38 because all sorts of things can happen in game week 38. And it's just nice to play a chip right on the last week of the season. I mean, there's every chance that I don't know. I've still got my bench boost. I may potentially even play my bench boost on a different week. It really does depend on who doubles and when. Because if Man City double and I bring in Haaland or a Foden, I'm quite tempted to play it on them. Like, I just got a feeling. Like, Foden's been so good for the small amount of time he's been in my team. I'm definitely looking at bringing him in. And the fixtures do swing. From like 30-31, Man City finish the season with an absolute tailwind. West Ham's fixtures look all right. Brentford's obviously go down the gurgler. Bournemouth's are pretty good most of the season, but they do run out around 34-35. It is about setting your team up for success. Like those last 8 weeks, you can make so much rank, and that's why I think it's better to play the wild card early. Last year, I played it a week later than almost everyone else, and it sucked. I missed out on all the points that I would have got a week earlier, and that ended up costing me bulk rank at the end of the season. But yeah, bench boost, triple captain, 33, 36, 32. Those are definitely the 3 weeks I'm going to be playing those 2 chips. And then the free hit chip is definitely locked in at the moment for 34, but it may be 38. Now, if you're an assistant manager chip, my recommendation, if you haven't already used it and you've still got it pending, save it. Play your wild card in game week 30, set your team up, then in game week 31 to 33, play the assistant manager chip. Now, most people that have still got the assistant manager chip have not got their triple captain, so you don't have to worry about playing that. And then you play your bench boost in either a single game week or you play it in game week 36. That would be my recommendation. It's definitely the most sensible play, and that's the chip strategy you probably want to be going with moving forward. So onto the assistant managers of table bonus. Now, as I said, Ruud van Nistelrooy is definitely in the line of thinking. He is versus Brentford, and it is at home. And Brentford is a team I think you can target. Now, the ones that I think I've got absolutely no chance this week are... Actually, I think they've all got pretty good chances. No, actually, Pereira against Bournemouth, I think, is a 0 chance of them getting a win. Bournemouth are in such good form, I just can't see it happening. Now, Potter's an outside chance. He's probably the one next that I would rate the lowest, only because of the fact that Arsenal's defence is absolutely elite. But it is a London derby, and Arsenal don't score many goals with the forwards that they've got out, which makes me think that Graham Potter could be an option, but I'd have him at second last in this particular thing. It's then probably Juric versus Brighton. Now, Brighton have a mare in them. Like, they do have a mare in them. They've made a mare of them the last time they played. Friday night brings about weird things. We'll talk about it in a second with Ruud van Nistelrooy. He plays on Friday night this week against Brentford. Could get you off to an absolute flyer. I remember when it wasn't Juric, it was the other bloke. I can't remember the other bloke's name. That's it. That's just the team. Southampton played on that Friday night and held Brighton to a 1-1 draw, completely blanking all of my Brighton assets. I had the goalkeeper, I had a defender, and I had a midfielder. Absolutely stunk it up. I was not impressed. Not impressed at all. And Brighton, unfortunately, do have that performance in them. So if you're one of those people wondering about where to go, it ain't that bad of a shout. It ain't that bad of a shout. That's all I'll put to that. In terms of McKenna versus Tottenham and Ruud van Nistelrooy versus Brentford, they are definitely the next two. Now, I don't know how I rank them 1 or 2. Like, I just got a feeling about Ruud that he's going to get a win. I don't know why, because my Brentford boys have been so god-awful. I feel like I could go Ruud van Nistelrooy, and it could be one of them games where my Brentford boys are going to pop off and I'll be pretty happy, or Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to pop off and I'm going to be pretty happy. And if it's a draw, I'm still going to be pretty damn happy. So, I mean, a score draw would be brilliant because it means that probably all my assets are getting returns. So that feels like a fun time to play it. I don't have any Ipswich or Tottenham assets at all, and I'm unlikely to have any moving forward. But McKenna versus Tottenham, I've already beaten them once this season. Potentially it could happen again. Like, honestly, it potentially could happen again. And I think potentially I've got McKenna just in front of Ruud, only because of the fact that Brentford are flat track bullies, and I would classify Leicester as a flat track bully. The two things I'll say about these two teams, they are both on the same amount of points, and if they're going to get out of the relegation battle or get themselves to safety, these are the games they need to be winning. Like, Tottenham are a flaky team. They're like Man United, flaky team. Brentford are also there for the taking, particularly away from home. And then obviously Glasner is the one I like the most. He is versing Fulham at the moment, at time of recording. Tomorrow we'll know whether Glasner is an option or not, and whether he still has table bonus or not. If Aston Villa win tonight, which I'm hoping they do, and I've just got a sneaky suspicion Villa might actually do Liverpool, then Glasner won't be an option. And then it really is a toss-up between McKenna and Ruud for me. But that's definitely where I'm going, and I'll definitely be playing the assistant manager on the table bonus. I've been doing that every single week. I'm not going to be changing now. Now, onto my current team as it stands. This is how it's looking for game week 26. Now, Emery's in there because I haven't made my decision to move him yet. But that is because of the fact I don't know if Oliver Glasner has table bonus or not. Now, if he doesn't have table bonus, I'll be locking in my transfer. Regardless, I'll probably be locking in this transfer tomorrow. But this is how the team's looking at the moment. Now, I've got one free transfer to be used, and that will be on, as I said, chasing the table bonus. Last week, the assistant manager, I really just want to have a bit of fun with it. It was designed to be a fun chip, right? So I feel like I've done the right thing. I played it on Moyes, chasing the table bonus, got a draw against Liverpool. I played it on Emery, disappointed against Ipswich, but I hope he can do something against Liverpool. And I'm going to be playing again this week on a manager that has that chance to really deliver massive points for me. Now, the other things that I do want to change in my team, moving Bruno Fernandes, moving Wissa, moving Mbuemo over the coming weeks if results don't turn around. Now, Man United have been woeful. Brentford have been okay in terms of results, but these boys have been doing nothing in my team. Yeah, that's just going to be frustrating. Obviously, moving Trent as well is going to be paramount to my team. Like, I need to get rid of Trent, and I also need to make a goalkeeper transfer. Now, it might be that I keep Alisson Becker and just get rid of Fabianski for Areola or Jorgensen from Chelsea. Like, they both cost 4.2, and I could save the transfer because Becker does look amazing in goal, and Liverpool's defence are really good, and that would just be my second Liverpool player, and I'd be quite happy with that. It would cover the Trent clean sheet if he ever got one, and I don't know. I just feel like it's a much better use of funds. The rest of the team I'm actually pretty damn happy with. Not going to lie. There's not a hell of a lot for me to do. Game week 29 is there. Look, it has put me off Crystal Palace assets. Like I would have bought a Munoz or a Mateta, but there's no point buying them if they're going to be blanking in 29. I'd rather just buy them on Wildcard in 30, well, especially knowing that they're going to have a couple of nice fixtures. Got Southampton straight after the blank, and it just looks really good moving forward. So yeah, that's my current team at the moment. Lots of things I like, and obviously a couple of things that I am thinking about changing over the coming weeks. Now, fixture difficulty rank. This is massive. Like, you just need to be watching this and looking at it and basing this on how the transfers you're going to be making. Now, lots of people talking about Wanyeri this week. He's got one good fixture in the next probably 4 or 5. Like, is he really worth bringing in? I don't think so. You're bringing him in for West Ham. He's got Nottingham Forest away, Man United away, Chelsea at home, Fulham at home, Everton away. I don't think he does much over that period of time. And then Saka and Martinelli are going to be back, which is why you need to be looking at the fixture difficulty rating and working out when you're going to be playing players, what they're actually going to be doing in your team. Some people, I think, just get on board the bandwagon and think, 4.5 million asset, I'm going to pick him up. He's going to play and deliver every week. He ain't going to be delivering every week. He probably won't deliver this week. So that's just something to keep in mind. Bournemouth, Brentford, they do look pretty good. I don't mind them at all, particularly for the near run. Everton, Crystal Palace, ditto. I know the blanks in there. Chelsea assets as well are pretty good. Cole Palmer's still a really good asset. Wolves, as I said, definitely a team coming in my line of thinking. When I wildcard, I actually probably will bring in Cunha for Wissa if Wissa doesn't deliver this week. Like, that will be the transfer I make in game week 27. I will just get rid of him, because he's just been no good. Like, if you look at Brentford's fixture next week, Everton at home, looks all right on paper. Everton defend really well. Wolves have got Fulham at home. Like, again, maybe I'd save that to game week 28. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a move I'm looking to do. I've got the money in the bank for it as well, so there's no need for me to like really stress too much about that moving forward. So on to the last part of the video, and this is wildcard free hit squad. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see my current squad. It's worth 108.1. That is the squad value. In the bank, I've got 1.2 million. That's including the money I've got wrapped up in Unai Emery at the moment. So like, that money will come back into the squad at the end of the assistant managership, which will be at the end of game week 26. For this week, in theory, I've only got actually 0.4 in the bank because, as I said, 0.8 is wrapped up in Emery. Thankfully, I can afford all the managers I want, which is why I won't be going for a 1.5 million manager, and I'd never wanted to go for a 1.5 million manager. Now, in terms of my team there, as you can see, I talked about the problems in my team. Bruno Fernandes, Mbeumo, Wissa, Trent, Alisson Becker. And as you can see, this is how I've swapped it up. Now, on the second one, I've actually dropped the squad value to 100.9. That's because of the fact I think this team, over the near term into like the long term, is actually better than that, and it costs way less. Like, Bruno Fernandes is arguably a worse asset than Matoma over the long term. And Mbeumo, ditto, with Bowen. Bowen's fixtures over the long term are amazing compared to Mbeumo's, who run out in the next three or 4 weeks. Salah and Palmer both remain. Now, the good thing is that 6.9 million does allow you that time, and like, you should always invest the money in your squad, but I can't argue that this team is actually that bad. You could argue that you should have just invested that and get Haaland in straight away, but I just don't think that that is the play just yet. And ideally, that is what this team is set up for, to bring Haaland back in without sacrificing Palmer, without sacrificing Salah, and having Isaac still in the team. So like, ideally, 6.9 million plus Wissa takes you up to 13.1. You only have to find another 1 point whatever, and that's easily done by moving a couple of the defenders down, or dropping a Bowen or a Matoma to someone about 1 million less, which again is quite easy. Like, Matoma could easily become Dango, and all of a sudden it looks really good. So, as I said, I've obviously got Kepa in goal. I really like that. He's nice and cheap. Bournemouth have some of the best defensive data in the league. Ariola's there because he's playing instead of Fabianski. That's an easy transfer. Kirkes, Robinson, Hall, Milenkovic, I still think are long-term assets. I think they're well holding. I'm just getting rid of Trent because I don't like Trent. I think he's completely overrated for that money. In reality, I could keep him, but I just think moving forward after this week, game week 26, I just don't see the value in Trent at all. Tarkowski, on the other hand, looks really good. Like, and Everton's defensive data is really good. I just like what he's producing. And then obviously in the midfield, we've got the Clivert covering the Bournemouth mids. Unfortunately, it means you can't get 2, and it would mean 2 transfers to get another one in because obviously as Kepa's in the goal. Bowen, Palmer, Salah, Matoma. Again, there's 4 penalty takers there out of 5 players in the midfield. And up front, it's Wood, Isaac, penalty takers, and Wissa. Now, Wissa could have been Mateta, it could have been Cunha, but Wissa's fixtures the next couple of weeks is just better than Cunha's. It's better than Mateta's, I reckon, as well. So that's why Wissa's in there instead. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if I'm barking or if I'm just foolish in general. So let me know what your strategy is. Have you got it ironed out? Have you plugged in when you're going to play your free hit? Do you know when you're going to be playing your wild card? I honestly think that when I do look at a wild card, and potentially next week I might do this, I might look at my current squad, compare it to a wild card in 27, and then a wild card in 30-31, and what it might look like in terms of difference then. Maybe that will help people understand the line of thinking I'm going with, and the fixtures that I am already actively planning against. But yeah, I'm intrigued to know what you think. Let me know in the comments what your plans are, and thanks for watching. And before you go, please smash a like and subscribe if you're new. That's been the D Unit.